So, in your individual spaces where you work and where you live, what kind of roadblocks are you facing in that area of racial equity?
Yeah, so I think representation is something that I'm aware of, because seeing other people like yourself doing something that you aspire to do is such an important thing to have, and there's not a lot of representation, especially as I'm raising my children. You know, I want my son to know what options are, that nothing is limitless to him. So, and with my daughter as well, just making sure that they don't feel that there's any barriers, and sometimes there is an invisible barrier if you don't see anybody that looks like you in that space. So yeah, I know I've just jumped right in with that one, but I think it is something that especially in the hairdressing world, that I experience.
Fantastic. And Erica, do you feel like some of those barriers have been lifted from what your mother's kind of said just now?
Definitely, yeah. Like, even from the difference from when I was younger to now, I think when I look back, it's like crazy how much things have changed in just that short period of time. There's been a definite difference and shift, which I'm very
It's nice to see more variety of people in Scotland. You know, walking about the streets looking just like you, and it's a good feeling. And then when you go into certain operations, it's just refreshing knowing that well, I've got a boss who's black, or you know, somebody senior that's not in a lowly position.
Correct. Yeah, that's so true. Brianella, can I come over to you? What's it like in the legal space? What kind of barriers do you face?
When I looked at the profession, no one actually looked like me, especially in senior positions. And what that then means is if you're not actually seeing people that look like you, then it might deter you from wanting to go into that profession. You might think that you don't fit in, or you might not find a space within that profession. So I would say that's one of the biggest barriers. And also the lack of intentionality, I would say as well, from law firms or organizations to not just be performative, but to actually ensure that there are policies there to ensure that representation or underrepresentation is actually addressed as well, as what I would say.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And Michael, in that creative space, do you see a lot of people that look like you? What other kind of barriers do you face?
Yes, at the start, when I got into the creative world, I saw that there wasn't that many back there, or even people who were actually doing really well in that sector. But as times went on, and with social media, in us having more connections around the world, I've been seeing a lot more black people in that space. Even if you look back in the 20th century artists, you see that European art is more celebrated than art from Africa, even though a lot of the inspiration comes from Africa.
Correct.
So nowadays I'm seeing it a lot more. We're getting more opportunities, which is really good. But I want to feel as if I'm getting opportunity due to my skill, not because of the colour of my skin.
Correct, yeah. Because when you touched on intentionality, Brianella, I felt like, is that positive discrimination that you were kind of, were you trying to say get us into those spaces because we're black, or where do we draw that line? How do we navigate that?
With positive discrimination, I mean, I don't particularly agree with positive discrimination. I think that it's a plaster to a problem and doesn't actually resolve the actual problem. I think that's why you need policies. You need to ensure that if you've got a hiring staff, that hiring staff has diversity on it. You understand unconscious bias, because if I'm from Edinburgh Uni and I am, for example, a white man, and I meet someone else that's from Edinburgh Uni or that went to Edinburgh Uni, and that person is white, we already have what is called affinity bias, whereby I share something in common with them, so I already have a preference towards them. So you need to be in a position where you can have a knowledge of what your biases might be and how to address those, and just realizing that a diverse workforce ensures that you're actually serving the community that you have, which is also diverse. And diversity of thought is obviously very important, and it ensures that your company is obviously progressing and ensuring that they're addressing all the issues that society has as well. So it's important to have that.
As an entrepreneur, I would say that, you know, diversity in the workplace is really important. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, are there kind of subtle acts of exclusions that you see where people are maybe biased?
All the time. So back in 2006, when I went to get into the hair industry, after I convinced my mum that it was a viable opportunity, after she had no control over my decisions, to be fair, and I had went into the colleges to meet with the the head of the department, the recruitment person, whoever it is that deals with bringing on new students, and I told them about all the experience that I had with hair. And at the time, my peers had told me, if you want to get into hairdressing, go and do this college course. And they'll probably move you up a level because of your experience, because you've been working with hair for so long and you know what you're doing, you can demonstrate it, so that you can get your, they'll put you through the process. And I got told, actually, your experience doesn't count. Your experience, whereas my counterparts, they were being told, oh, you've been a hairstylist for so long, and come on in and we'll jump you to the next level. So I got told I would be in a class with like 16-year-olds and things like that. And I would still have to pay for it, of course, because I had my degree at the time. But I just thought, that's discrimination, because if I had been, doing what I'm doing, working with hair all the time, had a portfolio already of all the work that I'd done, and to be told, I was also told that I would not learn a jot of textured hair care, which was my driving force for getting into the industry, was because I wanted to learn how to care for my own hair, and at the time my daughter was just a baby at the time. So things like that, and they do still repeat. There's a lot of times when I've went for jobs as well, like we were discussing earlier on, and they're expecting somebody that doesn't look like me, and when they see me, they just have all these assumptions, and they can't even help themselves. I get assumptions about my age, I get assumptions about my experience, and all sorts.
It's quite alarming, the kind of the barriers that people have in their minds, and they don't actually realise what they're.
It's the unconscious bias, what you were saying, or conscious or unconscious, because it seems to be ingrained that. I mean, I think it's a good thing to have policies in place, because a lot of people are not even realising what they're doing, that can discriminate or make a person feel unwanted or unwelcomed. I'm lucky because I've got quite a strong personality, so nothing really holds me back. But I did find it interesting to observe, but sometimes it makes me want to overperform. And and it's like, when does it end, really? When do I not have to keep proving myself? But probably never.